Hi there, my name is Eric, also known as Mindfield, also known as VaporChase on YouTube, and I'm here to show you today how to take care of your clearomizers, whether they be your Stardusts or your Vivi Novas or pretty much anything else. So we're going to be taking a look at how to clean several different types of clearomizers, including this Vivi Nova, to get them working better and cleaning them and making sure that they're working as well as they can be. So let's go take a look at how to do that. Alright, so here we are. Ordinarily, I would be doing this over the sink, rinsing them out under the tap, but if I did that, you wouldn't be able to hear a word I'm saying, so I'm going to use a couple of bowls. I also have 3 devices I'm going to be cleaning. I've got the Vivi Nova, I've got a Stardust, what was called the V3, it's the one with the long wicks and you can't disassemble it, and I've got a Stardust 2 that can be disassembled. So I'm going to start with the Stardust V3 or Revision 3, whatever you want to call it. This one cannot be disassembled, so this has to be cleaned in a slightly different way. So what I will normally do is I will take some water, and I'm just going to use this little pipette here to grab some water from this bowl. I'm going to pour some in here. And you can see it's full of water now. And I'm going to give it a shake. And this will help loosen a lot of the water. Make sure that your fingers are tightly covered over the top and the bottom, because the liquid will tend to flow through the center tube and out the bottom. So cover both ends, give it a good shake, and then I'm going to dump it out in this bowl. You can see a good lot of liquid in there coming out. I'm going to give it another fill here. There we go. Another little shake. I'm going to get that properly covered. There we go. Dump it out. Give it another nice fill. Another shake. There we go. Dump it out. And you can see it's starting to get clean. Let me get some focus here. Gonna focus. Yes, no, I guess not. There we go. And you can see it's starting to get clean. It's losing the color of the juice in here, which is good. That's what we want. So we can continue to repeat. Now, one of these stages, usually the second or third or whatever you want to make it, what I would do is I would fill this with either 99% isopropyl alcohol or either vodka or pure grain alcohol, because alcohol is really good at leaching juice out of the wick and the coil. So we're just going to continue with the water method for now. If you do use alcohol in any of these stages, make sure you give it some extra rinsing, because you don't want that any of the residue from that to appear anywhere when it's done. You don't want to be vaping that. Not so bad if you're using pure grain alcohol or vodka, because a lot of flavorings are alcohol based anyway, but isopropyl alcohol, especially denatured alcohol, is poisonous, so you want to make sure you definitely rinse that out very, very well. So we're just going to keep filling this up, giving it the shake, the hippie shake. There we go. Dump. There we go. It's coming a lot cleaner now. And you can continue to do this until the wicks look very nice and clean. There we go. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so that looks clean enough to me. I'd probably go ahead and do this maybe a couple more times, but that's good enough for our purpose. Next, we're going to take something that you can disassemble, the Stardust V2. This I would completely disassemble. I'll take off the mouthpiece. What I'll usually do is dump it in the water, or actually I'll usually give it an alcohol bath. Again, same as the what I just described, except I would put a little bowl in there just high enough with the alcohol to cover what I'm dumping in there. So I'll just dump everything in there. Take off the head, like so. Dump it in the water. And dump the base in the water. And I'll usually give that a little soak. Let it marinate for a little while, especially in alcohol, because alcohol, as I said, is very good at leaching out the liquid from the wicks. But it's up to you how you want to do it, especially if, say, your religion forbids the use of alcohol. That's just fine. You can use water. And what I'll usually do is I will rinse these, again, normally under a tap, but since we're not at a tap, I will just rinse them under water. And you can see it's getting nice and clean. There we go. See, that's getting nice and clean and white. Something else you can do, if you want, you can take off this seal. There we go. So you can see down to the coil. And give that a little rinsing. You get that nice and clean. You can see that's nice. Get a close-up of this here. You see that's nice and white right there. So we're going to set that aside. Get some focus back here. And we'll just rinse out our tube from the bottom end. Oops, got some water out there. There we go. Give that a bit of a rinse. Set that aside. Basically, I just like to rinse everything off, get all the residue out of here. And here's this part, the base. Get that nice and rinsed out down the center. There you go. That's always good. Now you're probably going to want to blow out anything that can trap water in it. This base is the air tube, so you can blow it out over some paper towel. You can see it's leaving some water there. That gets the liquid out of the tube. And you can go ahead, if you want, you can take a corner of paper towel, like so, and kind of thread it up in there, wad it up in there. And just dry it out this way if you want. There you go. That's nice and dry. Now I should point out, for the one you can't disassemble, you're going to have to probably leave this sit, say, overnight for 1 to 2 days, so that all the water in here evaporates. It might help to put this in front of a fan, or put it, in a toaster oven or something at a very, very low temperature, like 100 degrees or something, because the warmth will help the water evaporate as well. But do be careful. You don't want to melt it. Now we're going to do the same with the Vivi Nova. This works for the Mini Nova as well. In fact, these techniques for either one of these can work for pretty much any Clearomizer. So we're going to take off the top cap and dump it in, unscrew the tube, dump that in, unscrew the head. It's slippery, there we go. Dump that in, and the base. And of course I would let that soak for 5 or 10 minutes, either in water or alcohol. Again, up to you. Then what we'll do is we'll start taking the bits, rinsing them off. So you can see this head is pretty well soaked with juice. So a little bit of rinsing will get this nice and clean. There we go. And again, if you want, you can take the seal off, like so, exposing the coil. Give that a nice cleaning. There we are. Now this coil is much more used than the other one, so you can see if I get a close-up here, you can see it's fairly black in there. We'll take care of that in a moment. Again, set this aside with its seal. And we'll just take the rest, give it a good rinsing. That's enough. Same with the base. Get some water down in there. Blow it out. See, lots of water coming out. Give it a good wipe. Set that aside. And our top cap. There we go. We are all ready. Now, what we want to do is make sure that all of our parts are dry. We don't want to cause any shorts. I'm just going to wipe everything down. Take a corner with my paper towel, get it down in there. Sometimes you might have to take a very thin piece and roll it up like that so you can get it in to the areas where a thicker piece can't reach, just to get that bits of water out there. Okay, so there's our base for the Vivi Nova. You can wipe down the head a little bit here, pat down the wicks, make sure that the water is out of it. There we go. Just going to give it a little pat down, make sure it's dry, especially the connector end, because what we're going to do next is going to require it to be good and dry. Well, as dry as we can get the main components that are going to be making a connection. Here's the seal that I've just dried off. So, what we're going to do next is we're going to do a little dry burn. This is where we take our device, whether it's a Clearomizer, well, any Clearomizer. We're going to leave the seal off, and we're not going to put the tube on just yet. And I'm going to attach this to a relatively low power battery. This is an Ego battery. Let me move this out of the way. And this, because I don't want to drop anything in there, I'm going to attach this to a battery. And let's get some focus. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to fire this battery so that it helps dry the coil in the wick. Don't worry, the wick will not burn. This is silica wick. And silica wick is generally rated to a temperature of about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So it will be able to take a dry burn without burning itself. So here's what we do. We set it and press the button for 5 seconds. And then let go. You can see it was burning off some of that baked on juice, because what happens as you use it, that juice is going to get burnt and baked onto the coil. That's part of the reason why you lose flavor and vapor production and it starts to get all gunky. What this is going to do is kind of like what your self-cleaning ovens do. It basically bakes off the dirt and turns it to ash, and then you can just blow it off and you've got a nice clean coil. So we're going to repeat this, doing 5-second bursts every 10 to 20 seconds or so. And let go. And the goal here is to do it until you see the coil start to glow a nice orange. So you can see it starting to glow now. Now when you start seeing it glow, that means you know it's burnt off the excess water, and now it's going to start burning off the excess baked on juice. So I'll give it another dry burn here. It's starting to get nice and orange. The goal here is to burn it until you can clearly see the wire. If it's really gunked up, that gunk is going to kind of obscure and block out the wire. So you're not going to be able to see it very clearly. So the more you dry burn here, the more clearly you're going to be able to see the individual wraps of the coil. And that's what we want. We want to get that so that it turns white when you release the button. That way, when it's white, you know it's pretty much burnt off the excess gunked on juice. There we go. Make sure this is in focus here. You can see that's nice and orange, and we can clearly see the coils. And you don't really see much in the way of any gunked on, baked on stuff. So that's pretty much good to go. We'll just give it a little, we'll let it cool off for a few seconds here, and then we're just going to blow it off so that any of the ash that it made is blown away. There we go. This coil is now ready to use, so I'm going to put the seal back on, just like that. Here we are. And we're going to, first, I've got to dry out the tube here. Oops, there goes my battery. Dry out the tube here. There we go. Make sure all the water is out of it. And our cap. Dry off the cap. Get all that water out of there because we're going to fill it with juice. There we go. Alright. Let's get my tube. Fit it back on here. I'll make sure this is on here. Okay, so screw on the tube. There we go. Put on the top cap. Oh, got some residue from the paper towel on there, so make sure that that's all off. There we go. And we're ready to fill. Actually, I shouldn't have put that on because we want to fill it with juice, don't we? Alright, so going to get some juice here. Got a little needle bottle. And I'm going to fill it with some juice. Okay, that's good. And put our cap back on. Put in a drip tip. Let's see how she vapes. Oh, we gotta tip it, sorry. Of course we have to tip it, it's a CE2, that's standard practice. Make sure the wick is getting all nice and wet. And let's give it a vape. Very nice. That is working extremely well. Now we have a nice clean coil that is ready to use. And that's how you clean a Clearomizer. Now that procedure for dry burning works the same whether you're talking about the Vivi Nova or your Stardusts or what have you. Any Clearomizer, or any top-coil Clearomizer at any rate, will be working the same way. So you'd want to give it the same kind of dry burn by removing the seal so that you can see the coil and putting it on a low-power device, such as a standard Ego battery, and just doing that dry burn pulsing until you can clearly see the coils. It may be under a little bed of ash, but if you see that, just blow it off or take a very soft bristle brush, like a paintbrush or something, and just brush off the excess ash so that it's nice and clean. And make sure that you can see the coils as clearly as you can. That shows you that the coil is good and clean, the wick should be nice and white, and that will mean that it's ready to go and vape, just as this one is. As you can see, it's working very well. Very nice. And that works for the Stardust as well. I didn't dry that, so I'm not going to use that one, but the same principles apply. So there you go. That is how to take care of your Clearomizers and fill them and clean them and dry burn them and make sure that they're going to keep working for a good long time to come. So for Vast Vapor, my name is Eric. I hope this has been helpful, and happy vaping.